Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel. You Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah, not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So let's give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rekah, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the bishop and elders of great millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all Israel, ready concepted or not. In a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the full winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the world who are listening, learning, if you sister who are listening, learning. Coming at you on the lesson, true facts, faith, and edification of daily application, Lord willing, this be edifying. So I titled this lesson, it's going to be part 2. This crash is done purposely by design, which is done by the elites through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, of course. So I got a couple clips I want to play, and this is the one I saw yesterday. Well, I got 2 clips, actually 3 clips, just showing how Babylon the Great system is collapsing, is crashing because the elites is doing this to bring in the C-Hill, the MOTB. So check this out. Oh, let me turn this volume down first. And as I was mentioning yesterday, there's a clip about Saudi Arabia, how they separate from Babylon. But let's play this first. The Lord wants to be edifying. Just some quick. I was looking at these yesterday.
Well, welcome back. Americans are still reacting to a volatile week for the banking industry after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and also Signature Bank. Fed stepping in to help out both of those banks.
Absolutely. Joining us now for more is chief economist and host of the SchiffRadio.com, Peter Schiff. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. First, Citizens Bank, is there a possible buyer for Silicon Valley Bank? What can we expect to happen next?
Well, I don't know if anybody wants to buy the bank. The problem is most of the banks now, I think, in the United States are technically insolvent. And this is the result of a dozen years of 0% interest rates and quantitative easing. The Federal Reserve created the first financial crisis with artificially low interest rates. And the current financial crisis is actually even worse because it kept interest rates even lower for longer.
So SVB, they filed for Chapter 11 2 days ago. What does this mean? Is this a formality? What happens next?
Well, I think what happens next, unfortunately, is more bailouts. We've already bailed out several banks and their large depositors. The president of the United States is pretending that this doesn't cost anybody any money. It's going to cost everybody because inflation is the way we're paying for this. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet is now blowing up. It's back to quantitative easing, which is the reason we got into this predicament in the first place. But
in the more they create what is called QE, quantitative easing, which is creating more fiat currency. Hey, the more inflation rises, the more the food prices go up, man. And this is all the elites crashing this system, man.
Everybody's bank account is now at greater risk than ever. Maybe not because your bank is going to fail, because the government is not allowing that to happen, but because everybody's bank account is going to lose value. Inflation is going to the value of everything.
There's also, too, that you're seeing a lot of these other banks that are bailing each other out. Is this the wave of the future? Is this what we can expect to see when another bank is on that verge of collapse? Are we going to see other ones come and try and save them?
Remember, a lot of these large banks that are putting money now in other banks, they're getting the money from the Federal Reserve. Remember, these large banks are able to take their treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, which have depreciated dramatically because they were foolish enough to invest when interest rates were at all-time record lows. So they're able to take paper that maybe is worth 70 cents and just give it to the Federal Reserve in exchange for $1. and then they're taking some of that windfall and depositing it in other banks. So the whole thing is a bailout in disguise. And again, the bag holder is the American public. They get the bill in the form of higher prices.
A new study from the Social Science Research Network found that nearly 190 U.S. banks could be vulnerable to a similar type of collapse as SVB. You know, the question on everybody's mind.
It's not. It's completely unsafe. But again, even if the government steps up and bails out all these insolvent banks and stops the runs, the only way they can do it is by printing trillions and trillions of dollars, and it gets spent into circulation. So either you're going to lose your money because your bank fails, or you're going to keep your money because your bank is bailed out, but your money isn't going to have much value. So what good is it if you can withdraw your money, but when you go to spend it, you can't buy very much?
Yeah, exactly right. And let's play a soundbite here from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on the interest rates. Having said that,
my understanding is that the bank, to meet liquidity needs, had to sell assets that it expected to hold to maturity. And given the interest rate, these currents and asset treasuries and government-backed mortgage-backed securities, they had lost market value.
yeah, a lot to unpack there. But the question people at home want to know is the Fed going to have to reconsider these aggressive rate hikes?
Well, first of all, Janet Yellen is incompetent. She was incompetent at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. She was incompetent as Fed chair. She kept interest rates at zero for practically her entire term. That's what helped these banks load up on these low-yielding treasuries. But unfortunately, the Fed is going to stop raising interest rates. It's already gone back to quantitative easing. They should be raising interest rates much more. And the government under Secretary Yellen should be cutting back spending. If she was competent as Secretary of the Treasury, she would be telling her boss, Joe Biden, that we need to dramatically cut government spending. Instead of trying to raise the debt ceiling so we can go deeper into debt, she should be advised to start cutting spending and actually pay our bills so we don't have to raise the debt ceiling.
Right.
And it's all and here's people. This guy, Peter Schiff, got gold and silver, man. So let me get this next clip here. This is the Lord driving Babylon into a hole, man. And this is what the nation's angry. Because when you read Obadiah 1:7, and this is all a play on the petrodollar, man. This is why these nations are trying to get around this petrodollar. But at the end of the day, it's all the elites, man. But it's all about that dollar, man. Oh, what this guy named Gaddafi, right? They wound up killing him because he was trying to get around the petrodollar and use their own currency. Same thing with Saddam Hussein, man, and Bin Laden, which was both CIA agents, man. They were trying to play on ball. They were tired of playing ball with America, man. So Saudi Arabia, which is America's #1 ally. Check this out.
There have been whispers of Saudi Arabia distancing itself from the US. Call it a decoupling, if you will. Saudi Arabia is changing posture. It is already a major player in West Asia, but now Riyadh has global ambitions.
And this is not good at all, man. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, the petrodollar, have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. These nations is tired of America, man. Everybody tired of Babylon the Great, man. Even Edomites is tired of this. But the end of that time is going to come through them.
It is diversifying its economy, opening up its society, pursuing an independent foreign policy that isn't hemmed in by American interests. And most importantly, Saudi Arabia is relegating religion to a more personal space, not making it the driver of their economic and foreign policy.
This is not good, man. This is not good for America. Period.
The man leading the shift is Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He floundered for a while with the war in Yemen and the Khashoggi episode. But he's no more the pariah. He's a central player who doesn't want to operate in the shadow of the US any longer. Let me explain this with a quick recap. Saudi Arabia and the US have been allies for as long as one can remember. It was a symbolic relationship. The Saudis gave the Americans oil and the Americans repaid with military protection. No lectures on democracy or religious freedom. Those America kept for the rest of the world. So Washington got a steady supply of oil and Riyadh built its petrodollar regime. The Saudis did not question America's military operations. But in 20, arrangement suffered a big jolt. A Saudi American commentator, Jamal Khashoggi, was murdered, allegedly by the Saudi regime. The US took this up publicly and promised to turn Riyadh into a pariah. Saudi Arabia did not like America's tone. Listen to what its minister said last year.
The idea that one can impose values on other countries, His Royal Highness made clear, it does not work. It has not worked when the US tried to impose values on Afghanistan and Iraq. In fact, it backfired. It does not work when people try to impose values by force on other countries.
Don't impose your values on us, said Saudi Arabia to the US. The US also refused to support their war in Yemen, the Saudi war in Yemen. The rift widened. Saudi Arabia found other willing partners like Russia and China.
There it is.
Russia is a big oil
You see it?
producer. It is part of the oil cartel
I
called
did a lesson on
OPEC+.
this a couple months ago, man. Saudi Arabia doing billion-dollar deals with China and Russia, man. Babylon is through, man. This, Saudi Arabia is their main ally, man. This is their cash cow. This is a problem, man. Let me read this real quick. In Isaiah 13 and 19, it reads, "And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which is with fire and brimstone." And what's coming out of those intercontinental ballistic missiles? And in Revelation 19, in Revelation 9, fire, smoke, and brimstone. It say, verse 20, "It shall never be inhabited, North America, Babylon the Great, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there." So the Arabians shall neither pitch tent here in Babylon no more, man. They are joining the other Edomite, Vladimir Putin, the Russian Edomites, and they're China, man. And they are doing billion-dollar deals. I did a few lessons on this a couple months ago. This is serious, man.
Plus, last year when America wanted the Saudis to dump Russia, they refused. Biden even traveled to the country he not very long ago called a pariah. But the Saudis did not budge. Meanwhile, China emerged as a big investor, also one that doesn't talk about democracy or human rights. Suits
See?
everyone.
Hold on.
The Saudis convinced
Hold on. It just said what? Saudi Arabia gave Americans oil, got military protection in exchange. That's over with, man. Because now they don't need America's protection. They got Russia, man. See, the same way EU and NATO, this Edomite beast system, right? EU being the monetary, NATO being the military. Guess what? Russia and China is this kind of new system. China being the monetary, Russia being the military, man. Saudi Arabia don't need Babylon the Great no more, man. The Lord said it first. Isaiah 13 and 19, man. The
Also
Arabians
one-
shall neither pitch tent there, man. In Babylon.
doesn't talk democracy or human rights. Suits everyone. The Saudis conveniently shut their eyes.
See it? Hold on. You see it? Saudi Arabia played pivotal role in strengthening petrodollar regimen. See? This because of the oil, man. Saudi Arabia played pivotal role in strengthening petrodollar regime. You see it?
Conveniently shut their eyes to the plight of Muslims in China.
It's over, man.
Power politics, you see, is a game
Saudi
of
U.S.
convenience.
ties have deteriorated since killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018.
So gradually, the US was edged out as the Russians and Chinese
The Lord
entered
did this.
deeper into the fray. This is the decoupling with America. It's work in progress. And like we said, Saudi Arabia wants to be a global power. Its de facto ruler, the Crown Prince, has a vision. It's called Vision 2030, a plan to diversify the Saudi economy, make it less reliant on oil, more modern, more open. This week, the Saudis took the latest step to realize this vision. They've launched a new global airline. It's called Riyadh Air. It's meant to compete with the likes of Etihad, Emirates, and Qatar Airways. Crown Prince MBS has big plans. He wants to turn Saudi Arabia's strategic location into an asset. The kingdom is located between Asia, Africa, and Europe. It's a market with a lot of potential. Riyadh Air will serve more than 100 destinations around the world by 2030. That's the promise. Riyadh Air is expected to add $20 billion to Saudi Arabia's.
Man, Lord willing, we don't be here to no 2030, man. Lord willing. I'm about to tap out now, man.
Non-oil GDP. It will create 200,000 odd jobs, direct and indirect. They've hired aviation industry veteran Tony Douglas to execute the plan. He was previously the head of Etihad.
The brother going into it right now, man. The brother Nahalia. Hey, everybody trying to be the next superpower, man. Nobody is finna be the next superpower but Yahushua and the Israelites, man. Start with the elect under Yahushua. Everybody talking about being the next superpower. No. The Lord said, give wings to Moab and see if they can escape, man. The Lord said, give wings to Moab. Was that Jeremiah 48? They can't escape, man. Nobody's going to escape the Lord, man.
Airways. The idea is to get him to replicate the success of Etihad. But here's the irony. Do you know who's funding these big ticket projects to move the economy away from oil? Saudi Arabia's oil giant Aramco. And it can splurge because Aramco has posted a record profit, a whopping $161 billion, a rise of more than 46% compared to 2021. So Saudi Arabia's mantra is clear. It won't abandon oil, but it won't rely just on oil to fill its coffers. And the plan makes sense. The biggest challenge for the rulers, though, will be the social transition. From a hardline Islamic nation that only sells oil to a kingdom that hosts music concerts and allows women to drive, Saudi Arabia is being liberalized. The dominance of religion is eroding. Is this of reductions? Like
they don't need Babylon the Great no more, man. Now, it's crazy because I typed the lesson yesterday. This crash is done. This crash is done. This crash is purposely done, what I titled it, right? So I just made it a part 2. So here is this guy, Clay Morris. Look what he titled his video from yesterday. They want to watch the banks burn on purpose. Who do?
Let's talk about this bank panic and the destruction of the US dollar. I'm going to say something that probably defies some conventional wisdom right now. And I'm sure that there will be detractors out there, but I don't care, actually, because if I'm right, then a lot of people might actually be able to protect themselves. In fact, you'll actually be a little bit safer and a little bit of a safer position actually happens. And they announced this. So we'll get to that in a second. It's a little tease for you. Yesterday, a third U.S. bank failed in the space of a week. So this bank is called Signature Bank, which, by the way, is the same bank that shut down President Trump's bank accounts after January 6th. Isn't that kind of ironic in a way? Anyway, I just had to throw that in there. They shut down his bank accounts because he was too risky after January 6th. They didn't like the risk associated with him, Trump, and January 6th, Signature Bank. And now they've collapsed. As David Schaefer says on Twitter, Signature Bank famously closed President Trump's bank accounts to signal its virtue. Go woke, go broke, he says, to signal its virtue. This morning, President Biden came out and gave a rare address to the nation. Of course, he's not taking any questions. He doesn't do that. And he did this ahead of the market open to assuage any kind of fears about a run on the banks. Watch.
Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills.
Hey, these guys look you right in your face and lie, man. This is Job 13:4. I just got a couple precepts, man. These niggas is the biggest liars, man. Job 13:4 reads, but ye are forges of lies. You are physicians of no value, man. Hey, these Edomites can look you right in your face and just lie to you, man.
Our hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests.
Recordings just got better. I'm so excited to announce.
What is going on, man?
So you knew about this, okay? Just to be clear about that, just to rewind the clock. It's not Friday that you knew about this. You knew about this in the middle of the week. You knew about this earlier than we were told. But last week, I told my team. So we know, okay, that's how this is playing out. So the message here, though, is very clear. Don't worry about your money, America, because the Fed will step in and create more liquidity so you can withdraw your money. Watch.
Because they've already taken. Every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
Oh, is that how capitalism works? He's giving us a lesson in capitalism.
Oh man.
You know, like, so here's how capitalism works. We pick winners and losers, and we, the federal government, pick winners and losers, and then we print more money to bail out certain people.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how capitalism works.
This place is through, man. Let me get these precepts. I just got this place is through, man. Hey, nobody lost when King David and Solomon was in rulership, man. Nobody lost, man. This is crazy, man. But it's the Lord. Jeremiah 51. Hey, these Edomites these people is crazy. Babylon, Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, right? The petrodollar, the policies, the legislations, the democracy, the philosophy, the draconian measures, their religions. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain? And that's these bailouts. If so be she may be healed, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So the Lord is saying, because she cannot be healed, forsake her and let us go everyone unto his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. And that's why Saudi Arabia is ditching Babylon the Great, man, because they don't need Babylon. See, they traded oil for protection. Well, now they have Russia and China for that, man. So the Lord saying in verse 6, Jeremiah 51:6, it reads, flee out of the midst of Babylon, which is spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and deliver every man his soul. This is about, because it tells you in Jeremiah 50, verse 7, I think it is, say, be as an he-goat be as a he-goat. Jeremiah 50:8. It say Babylon, it said, remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of Chaldeans and be as the he-goat before the flock. Because we're supposed to be one of the people. So again in verse 6, It reads, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense." So this is about being a he-goat before the flock, which is the one of the people, man. Right. James 5, man. The gold and silver is cankered. And this is and the least is doing this, man. They're doing this on purpose because, like I was saying yesterday, either gonna revert back to gold and silver, or it's going to the sea hill, which is going to the sea hill, man. Everything is moving to digital, man. And in between the gold standard to the sea hill being mandatory, it's inflation, man. Hyperinflation. And the food is going up, man. Okay, you got Edomites that been complaining about going to spend $100 in the grocery store and coming out with 1 or 2 bags, man. Spending $100, man. Because the more they QE, quantitative ease, and print more money, inflation. The price on everything is up, man. Everything is up. And it's only going to get worse. And the apostles been saying this for years, man. And now we watching what the apostles been saying play out, man. Because the Lord said in Isaiah 55:11, his word should not go out void. And it shall accomplish what he sent it, man. So now we watching everything that the apostle said years ago, is playing out now, man. Okay? It's playing out right now, man. So I just want to make some points on that, man. I don't want to make, because I'll be here all night. But I just, these devils, man. Here it is. Clayton say, they this guy say it's crazy, man. He say, they want to watch the banks burn on purpose. Of course. This crash is done purposely by design, man. They at least doing this. And look what it said on the side. It said the US dollar will join the Zimbabwe dollar in the graveyard of dead fiat currencies. Because what's the petrodollar? What's the fiat currency? It's a Ponzi scheme, man. It's nothing. Again, the US dollar will join Zimbabwe dollar in the graveyard of dead fiat currency. And we know this. It's all over the scriptures. The apostles been saying this, man. So when Jake talking about the sea hip, the MOTB is sin, man, the Lord gonna kill you niggas, man. Because you don't know what's going on out here. All you want to do is cut mics and have precepts, man. This is about prophecy. You can have many precepts, but don't have no understanding or wisdom of the precepts, man. Anyway, Lord wins edifying. Got to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rikah Korash. Double honors to the apostles and the bishop and elders, great millstone, Ruel, who teach well. Well, the apostles and elders of all Israel already accepted or not. In a sense, it's salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth to the full ends of the earth, the entire world. We can have the hope for the elect. Shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning. If your sisters are listening and learning. Lord was edifying, man. I want to go into more, but it's getting a little late and I got to hit the plantation about 10. So, Lord willing, hey, man, just want to hit some points, man, because this place is through, man. And this is done. The least is doing this on purpose, man, because they got to bring in the new world currency, man. The new world currency is digital, man. The sea hill. And this is how they bringing it in. They got to crash. They got to phase out the old monetary system to bring in the new. And it just makes sense, man. Hey, so Tawaf for tuning in. Tawaf to all the Akim and Atwaf tuning in. How about Shemal Shah Brakathum? And to Natam, I say Shalom. Wah, Abba, Abba.